Talk about Sophie Cunningham making some comments about WNBA fans, what she believes fans may not have right about WNBA players, and how a lot of fans feel about, I would assume, hard plays, aggressive plays. I'm not quite.
The WNBA believed it to be secure. It believed that its greatest star was untouchable. Then, a legend supplied the numbers, demonstrating that Caitlin Clark's departure is a financial necessity rather than only an option. The writing is on the wall, as an indisputable reality has surfaced. Put loyalty aside. One star's destiny is now obviously out of the WNBA's control, and this is about stratospheric money that will change women's basketball forever. Sophie Cunningham's latest inflammatory remarks highlight the league's current stormy waters, adding fire to an already flammable scenario that may cause important players to seek the closest escape.
Last year had volunteered to join the Fever as Caitlin Clark's enforcer. And that's Angel McCoughtry. She played in the league forever. She's 39 years old now. And really good player. I mean, a 6-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champ. Averaged 18.6 points a game in her career. And she makes some comments about Project B that's very interesting. And I think she's saying the quiet part out loud, that some players may forego the...
Project B, a clandestine new organization that has the potential to completely upend the women's professional basketball scene, is the source of the seismic upheaval. This isn't your typical league, promising sums that beyond anything the WNBA has ever offered. It's an economic earthquake. Ignore the contract negotiations and gradual raises. Project B is seeking to entice the top talent with unimaginable fortune by swinging for the fences. Its rise could lead to a major exodus of players looking for financial security that would change their lives. To begin with, the league's most marketable assets.
WNBA, not unrivaled, the W, in order to play in this new league. She also squashes the myth about, players have talked about, I want to be able to stay in the States. I don't want to go overseas, blah, blah, blah. She says that's kind of BS. That sounds like a negotiating tactic is what it is. So, Sophie Cunningham, let's check this out.
I'm not just speaking for myself. I think I'm speaking on behalf of probably the whole league, that when people see us competing and trying to fight to do anything it takes to win, because this is a hard league.
Angel McCoughtry, a real legend and former WNBA All-Star, didn't only allude to this. With startling precision, she presented the cold, harsh facts. Her observations, which highlight the difficult financial circumstances players must deal with while deciding where to play, are a devastating blow to the WNBA's narrative. McCoughtry speaks from experience, having witnessed the league's financial constraints firsthand during her illustrious career. Last season, she even offered to be Caitlin Clark's enforcer. She lifts the veil to reveal the disparity between these athletes' present compensation and what lies ahead.
Sophie Cunningham, let's check this out.
I'm not just speaking for myself. I think I'm speaking on behalf of probably the whole league, that when people see us competing and trying to fight to do anything it takes to win, because this is a hard league, that they automatically think that's what you're like off the court. People need to get to know us players more, and I think if they do, they fall in love with us. And so not judging the competitive side of us compared to our off court.
Just wondering, do fans do that? Because I don't. I never one time have I seen somebody's play and been like, they must be real nasty off the court. They must be real.
The profits are the same. Not very impressive. Consider the maximum deal in the WNBA. The top players only receive $90,000, which is barely noticeable in the world of professional sports. Now contrast that with the startling $2 million minimum wage proposed by Project B. This is not a little bump. It's a huge leap. An almost 22-fold increase for even a bench player. This one statistic highlights the WNBA's inability to compete and any financial carelessness on the part of players with short careers.
On what else does the player got going on off the court? Do they take basketball seriously? or do they want to be a celebrity influencer? Well, you know what I'm talking about, right? So I thought that was interesting and that you guys would want to see that. Let's go over here. This is the Good Follow podcast. Hell, go subscribe. It looks like it's relatively new. The lady on the left is Angel McCoughtry. Like I said, we're talking about a real force in the league. 5-time All-Star, 2 times.
However, salaries are not the end of the money. With something unheard of in established colleagues, Project B makes the sale sweeter. Equity. Players receive more than simply a salary. A piece of the pie is being given to them. An opportunity to get a piece of a league whose value could skyrocket. This innovative strategy turns athletes from workers into stakeholders by directly tying their long-term financial interests to the expansion of the league. For athletes looking for generational wealth well beyond what conventional WNBA contracts provide, it's an alluring opportunity.
And how that's going to... She gives you a perspective of how players are going to look at this money, and you can tell from her reaction, it's like, whoa, that's a whole different level of cash we're talking about.
The max was $90,000.
I mean, even just say, like, you haven't been playing the league for, what, 1-2 years or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's just even talk now. You're a current...
Okay, I'm a current player.
These players are making max $250.
Now I'm making $250, then $90. And let's see. $5 million, $2 million. I mean, guys, you do the math. Who's going to turn that down? And then I have a chance to have equity in this league.
And McAtree asked the question that was on everyone's mind. Why put your body through playing the DMN WNBA if you're going to get paid $5 million without holding back? This goes beyond rhetoric. The WNBA's value proposition is fundamentally challenged by this. When an alternative gives such great financial security, why put up with the demanding schedule, the physical strain, and the comparatively low pay? Every WNBA player, especially those with market-moving star power, must reevaluate their priorities in light of her frank judgment.
50, then 90. And let's see. $5 million, $2 million. I mean, guys, you do the math. Who's going to turn that down? And then I have a chance to have equity in this league, and this league could possibly grow. I mean, Project B, a.k.a. Project B, let's get it.
Yeah.
You know,
feels like common sense almost.
It feels like it is common sense. I mean, honestly, I see a lot of girls. If you're going to get paid $5 million, why put your body through playing in the WNBA? Is that that's what I see coming?
Well, here's the another aspect of this too. I thought the whole trend and point of some of these new leagues popping up was that the trend was going players wanted to stay home in the U.S. And so that's an advantage that
To make matters worse, McCry dispels the long-held notion that WNBA players would rather remain in the U.S. The idea that players value being at home has been promoted for years, which makes leagues like unrivaled appealing. McCoughtry, however, refers to it as B. She clarifies that this constructed preference is essentially a negotiating strategy, a handy narrative that conveniently ignores the need for genuinely life-altering funds. In actuality, players will travel to any location for the correct payment.
You're fixing to see a lot of surprising names, I have a feeling, sign up for this league because they think the W is going to $850 or $1 million. Okay, well, what do you think they would pay A'ja Wilson? $8 million, $10 million a year, so 8 to 10 times more than they're paying now. Caitlin Clark, $15 million, $20 million, $25 million. I mean, I don't know. People seem to get offended when I bring that. Why? Why wouldn't...
Speaking from very personal experience, McCoughtry describes her favorite travel destinations, such as Istanbul, Turkey. She paints a vivid picture of a lively life filled with delicious cuisine, rich culture, and renowned parties that, on off days, run till 7 in the morning before breakfast. It's not a sacrifice. It's an improvement in living. The prospect of playing in Europe, Asia, or even Africa, along with travel, elite basketball, and enormous compensation, is portrayed as the life rather than a hardship, entirely redefining the abroad option. The carefully crafted narrative by current WNBA players and league officials is destroyed by this disclosure from a reputable WNBA veteran. The idea that athletes would prefer to remain at the easy fallacy of home for the sake of it is revealed. McCutcheon effectively illustrates how the dollar quantity alters everything. Where you play is no longer as important as how much you get compensated for it. The financial strength of Project B fully eliminates the WNBA's geographic preference-based power. There is more than simply a financial gap between Project B and the WNBA. Additionally, it surpasses recent domestic options like as unrivaled, which pays participants about $250,000. The minimum $2 million required for Project B is essentially 9 times that amount. This implies that a player may earn as much as 9 unmatched seasons or numerous WNBA maximum seasons in a single year. The enormous amount of money invested in Project B by this new league is a total game share, making it impossible for lesser rivals to genuinely compete for elite players. The ramifications for true superstars are enormous when an end-of-the-bench player can demand a minimum wage of $2 million. If any player, regardless of star status, can get such an amazing contract elsewhere, the WNBA's whole compensation structure and even its very survival are called into question. Who will fill the rosters? The league could become hollowed out as a result, losing the excitement and talent that attract spectators. A clear route to its eventual destruction if significant and quick reforms aren't made. Let's now discuss the real game changers. What about the WNBA Titans if an average player can earn $2 million? According to McCree, a celebrity like Asia Wilson can fetch $8 million or perhaps $10 million annually from Project B. This is a multiple of 8 to 10 times her current WNBA salary, not merely more money. These numbers are not only alluring, but they also constitute a moral requirement that agents and players take into account, necessitating a thorough reassessment of their professional trajectories. The biggest name in women's basketball, Caitlin Clark, is a transcendent talent whose emergence has energized the WNBA. McCutcheon's predictions for Clark are astounding. $15 million, $20 million, or perhaps $25 million annually. These are more than just figures, they make a statement. They stand for a level of wealth that would fundamentally alter her life and legacy, far more than the WNBA could ever hope to provide given its current financial situation. The WNBA would suffer a terrible hit if she left. Clark's enormous Nike contract serves as a stark reminder of her potential Project B profits. With a reasonable estimate of $20 million per year from Project B, she might double her anticipated Nike income in just 8 years, or about 3 years. This degree of financial stability obtained from basketball participation is unheard of and seductive. It draws attention to the core issue facing the WNBA. Its most valuable assets are unable to have a comparable financial future, which forces them to think about other possibilities. Players like Nafi Sakir and Breanna Stewart's defense of staying in the country is shown to be a smokescreen. McCutcheon's direct comments validate what many had suspected. It's all about the money, not about remaining put. It is now indisputable that the notion that athletes would forego millions to play in the US when there are plenty of profitable and pleasurable possibilities abroad is untrue. A handy lie intended to conceal the domestic league's underlying financial problems. Another debate in the midst of this impending financial disaster increases the problems facing the WNBA. The controversial remarks made by Sophie Cunningham regarding supporters. She said that spectators misjudge athletes based just on how aggressively they play on the court, failing to recognize their genuine characteristics off the court. Her tone and implicit criticism of the fan base caused a great deal of resentment, even as she pleaded for understanding. This error further undermines the league's foundation by exposing a fundamental gap between players and the very audience that is essential to its survival. According to Cunningham's reasoning, fans erroneously associate a player's competitive on-court attitude with their temperament off-court. She thinks fans would fall in love if they really got to know them. But she makes a critical distinction. Dirty play is not the same. A player's character is affected if they are genuinely unscrupulous and dishonest. This subtlety is crucial, but her first generalization ran the risk of upsetting a fan base that was already struggling with how the league was perceived, creating even more conflict and unhappiness. For supporters, the debate centers on the boundary between aggressive defense and hustle plays versus dirty play. Sophie may think that fans misinterpret intensity, but many onlookers have a good sense of what constitutes true unsportsmanlike behavior. Instead of encouraging a closer bond, her remarks run the risk of dismissing valid fan complaints about specific actions. Potential supporters are turned off by the league's public image issues, which are made worse by an internal difference between players' perceptions of themselves and how the public views them. A perfect storm is created by the combination of these elements: Project B's enormous financial appeal, the debunking of the stay-at-home fiction, and the internal conflict brought to light by player-fan disputes. For any athlete, especially those with the star potential to demand top salary, leaving the WNBA in search of unparalleled wealth becomes not only a feasible option but also the overwhelmingly rational choice. With its most precious assets appearing to be headed for other endeavors, the league is currently fighting on several fronts. There is an existential threat to the WNBA unlike anything in its past. Can it change, significantly raise player pay, and resolve internal conflicts to keep its best players? Or will the allure of multimillion-dollar contracts and international travel prove to be too strong, resulting in a mass exodus that reduces the league to a shadow of its former self? Players like Caitlin Clark's impending departure due to unavoidable financial realities isn't just a possibility. The statistics that could permanently alter the course of women's basketball make it seem like an inevitable reality.